Hey, in this one, I'm gonna teach you a bit more about ZeroMQ, and we're gonna look a bit more into publishers and subscribers, and especially how the whole subscription mechanism works in ZeroMQ. Because last time, I showed you how to subscribe to absolutely everything to get every message, but of course, when you filter them, that's when it actually gets more interesting. So here I've taken back the examples that I had in the previous video, although it's quite small, so even if you haven't seen it, it should be okay. So we create a context, we create a publisher, we bind that publisher to an endpoint. And before I was just sending a single message every second, I was sending the message hello. And now I'm changing it a bit, so we have a list of names, and on every iteration of the loop, I pick a random name, I create some message that starts with the name, that's the important part. I generate a random number of cats and dogs, because why not? And then I just send this message. And so if we run this, you can see that we're sending this message, these messages every time. So let's stop that and just run it in another tab. So this will be running in the background, and let's just assume it exists for now. And so now let's go back to the subscriber. The subscriber, which here it's the exact same as last time. So again, create a context, create a subscriber, connect the subscriber to the endpoint. Here we subscribe to everything, and we run a loop where we receive a message, and every time we do receive one, we print it. So let's run that for now. Oops, spoilers. And so right now you can see that we're basically receiving every single message that the publisher sends, just like before. And so now we're gonna look in a bit more detail at this set sock opt thing. So in this case, it's to set the subscription of a subscriber. And here we set an empty string. And the way subscription works in ZeroMQ publishers is that basically if the message that is sent matches the prefix that you set, then you will actually receive it. So it's like prefix based. So let's say I set the prefix charms. Whoa, not that many times. So, and let's just run that. And this time I should only receive the messages that start with Charles, but it doesn't do it because here I need to specify the length of the prefix. So my name is 7 letters, so let's put 7 letters there. And now you can see that I only receive the messages that start with Charles. So let's make this a bit more ergonomic to play with it a bit more. And let's just use the arguments to do this. And so we want to just subscribe to argvi, and here strlen argvi, like so. And it's going to be like this. And we're going to need to have argc and argv, like so. Let's put that on multiple lines, and we need to import the string header. And so now I have a little executable. Maybe if I make it a bit more clear what I'm doing. So by default, it doesn't subscribe to anything, because oh, I do need to start that one as well. So, oh yeah, I should do like a little printf maybe. Subscribing to argv1 like so. So right now it doesn't do anything, but if I pass Charles, just like before, well, not lowercase Charles, but uppercase Charles, you can see that now I receive all the messages that have my name. And you can also subscribe multiple times. So you can call this set sock opt multiple times to have multiple subscriptions. So let's say I also subscribe to Daniela. And now I should get, see, we get the 2 subscription thing, and I get all the message that start with Daniela or Charles. Also, I mean, right now we don't really see it, but it's prefix based, and we can see in the publisher that I have the names Marion and Maria, which both start with MA. And so if I just subscribe to MA, I should get both Maria and Marion messages. And of course, if I subscribe to an anti-string, then I will get every single message, just like I expected. There is also an option to... So yeah, that's mostly it. For those for the publishers and subscribers, I think that's most of what you need to know about it, mainly. And there is a little trick with multi-part messages, but I will mention that in a later video. There is also a thing that I've never used, but always seemed interesting. So if you go in the manual of setSocOpt and you look for inverse subscribe. So yeah, you can also unsubscribe to pairs. So I've never used this, but I could do like, yeah, I assume unsubscribe here and then Charles and then the length of it, I'm guessing something like this. And then if I run my subscriber, but I do subscribe to Charles and Daniela, but then I unsubscribe from Charles, then I only receive Daniela messages. So yeah, that makes sense. Can be useful if you need to subscribe to some kind of stream, and then at some point you don't need that information. That could allow that could relieve some pressure from the publisher. Also, the thing to note is that the filtering, so of course on every single message, ZeroMQ has to like check if the prefix matches, and it tries to do that on the publisher side. So basically, every time you subscribe, it will send a subscription message to the publisher, and the publisher on its end will check if he should send you that message. So to avoid unnecessary traffic. Of course, that only works with protocols that go both direction, like TCP or like the thread protocol or whatever. For example, the UDP protocol, since it's unidirectional, it doesn't work, or like UDP-based protocols. So yeah, that's one thing to note. I was worried about that at some point for the performance of my applications. And there is also something I wanted to quickly show. Subscribe. Huh. Well, I don't find it anymore. That's odd. Anyway, there is also match. Invert matching. Okay, so there is a thing where you can basically do the opposite. So if the client subscribed to Charles, it would subscribe to all the other name but Charles. So yeah, that's all the options I know on the subscriber. I know also like a subscriber can connect to multiple publishers, and then you will just get all the messages from all of those, which I didn't know before doing this video and can actually be useful in my day job. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.